Adrien always dreamed of being rich and famous. Since he was little, he stood out from the other boys in his town. While his friends played ball, he stayed at home studying. His parents didn't understand why he was so different. "Son, why don't you go play outside?" his mother asked, worried. "Mom, I need to study. One day I'm going to be someone important," Adrien replied, his eyes shining. Time passed and Adrien grew up. He graduated from school with the best grades and managed to enter a famous university in the capital. There, he learned about business and technology. Adrien was very smart. He talked to famous businessmen who were going to teach at college. I asked a lot of questions and learned everything I could. Everyone thought he was going to work at a big company when he graduated. But Adrien had other plans. He wanted to create his own business. After graduating, he saved up all the money he had saved from the prizes he won in competitions. With that money and the help of some friends, he created an online school. At first, almost no one was interested, but Adrien didn't give up. He worked day and night to improve his product. Little by little, people started to like the idea of learning without leaving home. A year later, Adrien's online school was a success. Many people wanted to study there. Big companies wanted to invest money in his business. Adrien became famous and rich, as he always dreamed of. One day, after an important meeting, Adrien decided to have lunch at a restaurant near his office. He went in and sat down by a big, beautiful window. The place was empty at that time. Suddenly, a beautiful girl appeared to take his order. She had big brown eyes and a sweet smile. Her name was Angela. Adrien felt his heart beat faster. He had never seen such a beautiful girl. Angela smelled like flowers and had a soft voice. "Good afternoon. Have you decided what you're going to order?" asked Angela. Adrien was speechless for a moment. He wanted to know more about that mysterious girl. "Good afternoon, Angela. I would like a cappuccino and..." "What do you recommend I eat?" asked Adrien, trying to appear calm. "Our seafood pasta is delicious," Angela replied with a smile. "Then I'll have that, please," Adrien said. While waiting for his food, Adrien watched Angela from afar. She was reading a book at the counter. When the food arrived, he took the opportunity to talk to her more. "What are you reading?" Adrien asked, curious. "It's a book about travel. It tells the story of a man who visited many countries," replied Angela, excitedly. They talked for a few minutes about books and travel. Adrien discovered that Angela loved reading and dreamed of visiting New Zealand. When he finished eating, Adrien didn't want to leave. He wanted to stay there talking to Angela forever. "But I knew I needed to get back to work." "It was a pleasure meeting you," Angela, Adrien said, standing up. "It was my pleasure," she replied with a smile. Adrien left the restaurant feeling different. He couldn't stop thinking about Angela. Her eyes, her smile, her voice, everything about her enchanted him. Over the next few days, Adrien returned to the restaurant several times. He wanted to see Angela again. Finally, one Sunday afternoon, he found her. They talked more, and Adrien discovered that Angela was not only beautiful, but also smart and funny. He invited her for a walk in the park. Angela accepted, and they arranged to meet at the weekend. Adrien couldn't wait to see her outside the restaurant. When the day arrived, Adrien was nervous. He wanted everything to be perfect. They walked through the park, talking and laughing. Time passed quickly, and soon it became dark. Before they said goodbye, Adrien held Angela's hand. He looked into her eyes and said, "Angela, I really like you. I want to see you again." Angela smiled and replied, "I like you too, Adrien. I'd love to see you again." That night, Adrien returned home happy. He knew he had found someone special. Angela was different from any other girl he had ever met. Adrien slept thinking about Angela and dreaming about the future. He couldn't wait to see her again and start a new adventure with her. The days that followed were magical for Adrien and Angela. They met whenever they could, discovering more and more about each other. Adrien took Angela to special places, wanting to impress her, but at the same time trying not to reveal that he was a famous millionaire. One starry night, Adrien decided to surprise Angela with a different outing. He took her to an old movie theater called Clouds. The building was beautiful, with large windows and marble columns. Inside, everything looked like something out of a 1950s movie. Angela was delighted. Her eyes sparkled as she looked around, admiring the old posters and ticket machines from another era. "Adrien, this is incredible," Angela exclaimed, holding his hand excitedly. They watched a black and white, romantic and funny film. During the movie, Adrien held Angela's hand. His heart was beating fast, happy to be there with her. After the film, they explored the cinema. There were several rooms, each decorated as a different decade of cinema. In one of them, Angela had a surprise. She saw a poster with her own image. "But how?" she asked, confused. Adrien smiled, a little embarrassed. "I took a photo of you from social media and asked them to make this old poster. I hope you like it." Angela was moved by the affectionate gesture. She kissed Adrien's cheek, making him blush. At the end of the night, they went up to the cinema terrace. From there, they could see the city lights and the stars in the sky. Adrien and Angela held hands, admiring the view. It was at that moment that Adrien realized he was in love with Angela. It wasn't just an attraction, it was something deeper. He wanted to spend the rest of his life with her. With his heart racing, Adrien turned to Angela. "I need to tell you something," he began. Angela looked at him curiously. "What's wrong, Adrien?" "Angela." "I love you," Adrien said, his voice shaking a little. "You have become the most important person in my life. I have never met anyone like you." Angela's eyes filled with tears. "Oh, Adrien, I love you too," she replied, hugging him tightly. They kissed right there on the terrace under the stars. It was a sweet, passionate kiss, full of promise for the future. In the days that followed, Adrien and Angela were on cloud nine. They spent all their free time together, making plans and dreaming about the future. Adrien knew he wanted to spend the rest of his life with Angela, but he hadn't yet told her about his success in business. One night, as they walked hand in hand through the park, Adrien decided it was time to ask Angela to marry him. He wanted to do something special, something she would never forget. Adrien planned everything carefully. He rented a hot air balloon and bought a beautiful ring with a pink heart-shaped stone. On the appointed day, he took Angela to the park where they had met for the first time. When Angela saw the balloon, her eyes widened in surprise. "Adrien, what is this?" she asked, excited. "A surprise for you, my love," Adrien replied with a smile. They climbed into the balloon and began to float over the city. Angela was amazed at the view. Adrien, in turn, was nervous, feeling the weight of the ring box in his pocket. When they were up high, Adrien held Angela's hands and looked into her eyes. "Angela, there's something I want to ask you," he said. Angela looked at him curiously. Adrien took the box out of his pocket and knelt down as best as he could inside the balloon. "Angela, you changed my life. You make me want to be a better person every day. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Will you marry me?" Angela was speechless for a moment. Tears of happiness ran down his face. "Yes, Adrien. Of course I accept," she replied, throwing herself into his arms. Adrien placed the ring on Angela's finger and they kissed, floating above the city, happier than ever. In the following days, Adrien and Angela began planning the wedding. They wanted something simple but special. They chose a restaurant with a large balcony overlooking a lake. Angela made the invitations by hand, decorating them with dried flowers. Adrien was looking forward to Angela meeting his parents. He knew they would be happy for him. Angela, for her part, couldn't wait to introduce Adrien to her parents. The big day has arrived. Angela looked beautiful in her white dress. Adrien waited at the altar, nervous but happy. When Angela entered, walking towards him, Adrien felt his heart fill with love. They exchanged vows and rings, promising to love each other forever. When the priest declared them husband and wife, Adrien kissed Angela with all the love he felt. The party was lively. Everyone seemed happy for the new couple. Adrien and Angela danced, laughed, and enjoyed every moment. Everything seemed perfect. But then, something unexpected happened. Angela's parents arrived late due to a problem on the plane. When Angela saw them, she ran to hug them. She wanted to introduce them to Adrien. "Mom, Dad, this is Adrien, my husband," Angela said proudly. But Angela's parents' reaction was not what she expected. They turned pale when they saw Adrien. Angela's father even held his chest, as if he was in pain. Angela didn't understand what was happening. She took her parents to a quieter corner and asked what was wrong. It was then that his father told the truth. Adrien was the man who had ruined the family business. Because of Adrien's online school, Angela's father had lost everything. Angela was shocked. She didn't know what to think or feel. How could the man she loved be the same man who had caused her family so much suffering? With tears in her eyes, Angela took the stage to give her wedding speech. But instead of the loving words everyone expected, she revealed the truth about her past and how Adrien had unknowingly changed her family's lives. Adrien froze. He had no idea that his actions had affected Angela and her family in this way. He wanted to explain, to say that he didn't know, that he never wanted to hurt anyone. But before he could speak, Angela ran away. What should have been the happiest day of their lives had turned into a nightmare. Adrien stood there in the middle of the party, not knowing what to do. He knew he needed to talk to Angela, explain everything. But would she forgive him? Would their love be strong enough to overcome this obstacle? The days following the wedding were the most difficult in Adrien and Angela's lives. What should have been the beginning of a happy life together became a period of doubt and sadness. Angela returned to her parents' house. She needed time to think, to understand everything that had happened. Adrien respected his space, but his heart ached with longing and worry. Alone in his apartment, Adrien spent sleepless nights, remembering every moment with Angela. How did he not notice before? How did you not make the connection between your business success and Angela's story? He remembered all the times Angela talked about her father, about how things had suddenly changed for their family. Now everything made sense and Adrien felt guilty. "If I only knew," Adrien muttered to himself, looking at the wedding photo on the bedside table. In it, he and Angela smiled, happy and in love. It seemed like so long ago. Meanwhile, Angela struggled with her own feelings. She loved Adrien, but the revelation about his past left her confused and hurt. How could she stay with the man who, without even meaning to, caused her family so much suffering? Her parents tried to comfort her, but Angela could see the hurt in their eyes. They had lost everything because of Adrien's business. How could they accept that their daughter was married to the man who, even unintentionally, had caused so much suffering to the family? Angela spent sleepless nights, thinking about everything that had happened. She loved Adrien, but the revelation about his past left her confused and hurt. How could she stay with the man who, without even knowing it, had caused her family so much suffering? Adrien, in turn, was desperately trying to contact Angela. He sent messages, called, but she didn't respond. The young businessman felt lost and guilty. He never imagined that his success in business could have caused so much harm to anyone, much less the family of the woman he loved. Weeks passed, and the silence between Adrien and Angela seemed endless. Both suffered, but did not know how to resolve the situation. Angela felt torn between her love for Adrien and her loyalty to her family. Adrien, on the other hand, desperately wanted to explain, ask for forgiveness and show that he wasn't a bad person. One day, Adrien decided he couldn't wait any longer. He went to Angela's parents' house, determined to talk to her. When he got there, he found Angela's father in the garden. "Mr. Ramirez," Adrien began nervously, "I know I caused your family a lot of pain without even knowing it. I'm here to ask for forgiveness and try to make things right." Angela's father looked at Adrien for a long moment before responding. "Young man, I understand that you didn't know what was going on. But that doesn't change the fact that we lost everything because of your business." Adrien hung his head, feeling the weight of guilt. "I know, and I'm sorry. If I could go back, I would do things differently. But right now, all I can do is try to fix what I did wrong." At this moment, Angela appeared at the door. She looked at Adrien, her eyes filled with tears. "Adrien, what are you doing here?" "Angela, I needed to see you," Adrien replied, his voice shaking. "I love you and I want to make things right. Please give me a chance to explain." Angela hesitated for a moment, but then nodded. She and Adrien went to the garden, where they could talk in private. "Angela, I never wanted to hurt you or your family," Adrien began. "When I created my online school, my only goal was to help people learn. I didn't know it would negatively affect other companies." Angela listened in silence, tears streaming down her face. "I know you didn't mean anything wrong, Adrien, but that doesn't change the fact that my family suffered a lot." Adrien took Angela's hands in his. "I understand, and I want to do whatever it takes to make this right. Tell me what I can do, Angela. I'm willing to do anything to get you back in my life." Angela looked into Adrien's eyes and saw the sincerity in his words. She knew she still loved him, but she also knew it wouldn't be easy to get over what had happened. "Adrien, I love you too," she said finally, "but we need time. We have to find a way to get through this together and also help my family get through it." Adrien nodded, feeling a ray of hope. "I understand, Angela. Let's take it one step at a time. I promise I will do everything in my power to make things right." In the days that followed, Adrien worked tirelessly to gain the trust of Angela's family. He offered financial help so her father could restart his business, but Mr. Ramirez refused, saying he wanted to do it on his own. Then Adrien had an idea. He proposed a partnership between his online school and Mr. Ramirez. Together they could create specialized courses that combine Mr. Ramirez's practical knowledge with Adrien's technology. At first, Angela's father was hesitant, but little by little he began to see the potential of the idea. Over time, the partnership began to bear fruit, and Angela's family saw their financial situation improve. Angela watched all this with a mixture of pride and relief. She saw Adrien's genuine effort to make things right, and it made her love him even more. One day, while walking together in the park where they had their first date, Angela stopped and looked at Adrien. "Adrien," she said softly, "thank you for not giving up on us, for fighting for our family." Adrien smiled and hugged Angela. "I love you, Angela. I would never give up on you, on us. We are in this together forever." At that moment, under the sunset light, Angela and Adrien kissed, sealing their love renewed and stronger than ever. They knew they still had challenges ahead, but they were determined to face them together. The sun was rising over the horizon, painting the sky with shades of pink and orange. Adrien woke up early, feeling excited and nervous at the same time. Today was a special day, a day that would mark the beginning of a new phase in his life with Angela. He got up carefully so as not to wake Angela, who was still sleeping peacefully next to him. Adrien smiled as he looked at her, remembering everything they had been through together in the last few months. After getting dressed and having breakfast, Adrien and Angela left the house. They had an important commitment: the inauguration of the new training center they had created together. The center was the result of a partnership between Adrien and Angela's father. It was a place where people could learn both online and in person. Mr. Ramirez's practical knowledge combined perfectly with Adrien's technology, creating something unique and special. When they arrived at the place, they saw that there was already a small crowd waiting. Journalists, potential students, and curious onlookers all wanted to see the new venture. Angela shook Adrien's hand, feeling proud and excited. "We did it, Adrien. Look at all this we created together." Adrien smiled and kissed Angela's forehead. "Yes, my love. And this is just the beginning. Mr. and Mrs. Ramirez arrived shortly thereafter. Angela's father looked nervous, but his eyes shone with pride. He shook Adrien's hand firmly. "Thank you, Adrien," Mr. Ramirez said, "for giving us this second chance." Adrien shook his head. "No, Mr. Ramirez. I'm the one who thanks you for giving me a second chance, for trusting me and accepting this partnership." The opening ceremony was emotional. Adrien and Mr. Ramirez gave speeches, talking about how combining their experiences could help many people achieve their dreams. Angela watched everything with tears in her eyes. She remembered how it all started, the day she met Adrien at the restaurant, the wedding that almost ended in tragedy, and now this moment of triumph. After the ribbon was cut and people started coming in to see the center, Angela pulled Adrien to a quiet corner. "Adrien," she said, her voice shaking a little, "I have something to tell you." Adrien looked at her, worried. "What's wrong, my love? Is everything okay?" Angela smiled, her eyes shining. "Everything's great. In fact, it's more than great." She took Adrien's hand and placed it on her stomach. "Adrien, I'm pregnant." For a moment, Adrien was speechless. Then, a huge smile spread across his face. "Angela, this is wonderful." He hugged her tightly, spinning her around in the air. Angela's parents, seeing the commotion, approached. "What's going on?" asked Mrs. Ramirez. Angela looked at her parents, still in Adrien's arms. "Mom, Dad, you're going to be grandparents." The news was received with screams of joy and hugs. The family, which had been divided a few months ago, was now more united than ever. In the months that followed, Adrien and Angela worked hard to grow the training center. At the same time, they were preparing for the baby's arrival. They transformed one of the bedrooms in the house into a beautiful baby's room, painting the walls with fairy tale scenes. Adrien spent hours assembling furniture and organizing toys, while Angela chose clothes and prepared everything with care. The day of the birth arrived faster than they expected. Adrien was a nervous wreck, pacing back and forth in the hospital waiting room. Angela's parents were there too, trying to calm him down. After hours that seemed like an eternity, the doctor left the delivery room with a big smile. "Congratulations, Mr. Adrien. It's a girl." Adrien entered the room and saw Angela holding a small package in her arms. He approached, feeling his heart pounding in his chest. "Hello, Daddy," Angela said softly. "Come and meet your daughter." Adrien took the baby in his arms, marveling at her smallness and perfection. Tears streamed down his face as he looked at his daughter. "She's beautiful," Adrien whispered. "Just like Mom." Angela smiled, tired but happy. "What are we going to call her?" Adrien thought for a moment. "How about ... hope? Because she is our hope, our new beginning." Angela nodded, her eyes shining with love. "Hope. It's perfect." In the days that followed, Adrien and Angela adapted to life as parents. It was tiring, but every moment was full of joy and discovery. The training center continued to grow, helping more and more people achieve their dreams. Adrien and Mr. Ramirez worked side by side, their partnership growing stronger every day. A year after Hope's birth, Adrien decided to surprise Angela. He took her for a walk in the park where they had met. When they reached a familiar bench, Adrien stopped. "Do you remember this place?" he asked. Angela smiled. "Of course. This is where we had our first date." Adrien took Angela's hands in his. "Angela, in this very place 2 years ago, I fell in love with you. Since then, we've been through a lot together. We've had ups and downs, but our love has only gotten stronger." He knelt down, taking a small box out of his pocket. "Angela, would you do me the honor of marrying me again? Of renewing our vows and beginning a new chapter of our lives?" Angela, with tears in her eyes, pulled Adrien into a passionate kiss. "Yes, Adrien. 1,000 times yes." They hugged each other tightly, their hearts beating as one. There, on that park bench, Adrien and Angela sealed their love once again, ready to face any challenge that life could bring. And so, with hope in their arms and love in their hearts, Adrien and Angela walked together into the future. They knew that life wouldn't always be easy, but they were ready to face anything, side by side. Her story proved that true love can overcome any obstacle. That with understanding, forgiveness, and determination, it is possible to transform even the most difficult situations into opportunities for growth and happiness. And as the sun set over the horizon, painting the sky with the same colors as the day they met, Adrien and Angela smiled at each other, grateful for every moment of their journey together. They knew that no matter what the future held, they would face it all with love, hope, and the strength of their union.